All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's the day before I leave, so I had some extra stuff to do this morning at work. And so here I am, but I'm going to do a full show today. I'm going to go for at least 90 minutes like I normally do, so it'll be okay. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. And I am doing a show tomorrow, and I'm not leaving till tomorrow evening, but I just got so much stuff that's gone on. But anyway, no excuses, because Tyre already said, we're tired of your excuses, old man. So, hey, Tyre. I'm not going to do that. That would be rude. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to get it going. We're going to start with Joe Biden and then just go through a bunch of things that are happening. We'll do that right after the intro. Johnny, do your thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night.
All right. Good. Oh, wait, stop the music. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night, on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where the anticipatory flight, anticipating a flight, has me kind of giddy. I'm excited. It's taken me a while to get excited about this vacation. I hate taking vacations. Not because I hate the traveling. I love traveling, love going to see stuff, love all that stuff. Just the stress of being prepared and making sure that, you got a house sitter, because I don't want robbers to come into my house. So I got a house sitter, and I got, it's just, and then you think, oh, you're going to leave, and then you're going to come back, and you're going to have all this stuff to do that you got to get caught up on. But I'm not going to complain any more than that, because, not everyone has the luxury of taking vacations, especially this kind of vacation. I mean, we lucked out. This is not something that we would normally do, but it just happened to be something that a dear friend of ours wanted to do, and we're like, you know what? We would be more than happy to do this with our friend, and very generously made it possible for us. So anyway, here we go. Getting ready to go. I'm gonna be on a boat. I'm on a boat. I'm on a dumb fucking boat in the middle of Europe. And I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I don't know what to expect. I'm an English-speaking person who has a very tiny grasp of German, because I took some German in high school, and since we're going to be in Austria and Germany most of the time we're going, I guess that'll help a little bit. But most people speak English over there, and I'm sure the people on the boat speak English. I'm not so worried about that. But we're going to go see some cool stuff, see some old churches, old buildings, stuff that you don't see in the U.S. as much, and I'm excited. It'll be cool. The Titanic too. No, not the Titanic too. In fact, this boat is on a river. So if there are problems, and we go have a little, if we have an iceberg moment, we will, can swim to shore. That's the nice thing about this. They're not going to be out there laying on an old door and, freezing in the water and shit. So anyway, I'm excited. It'll be fun. It's going to be great. But that's not what we're here for today. We're here to talk about things happen in the news. I like to try to find things that people are going to be talking about later. Maybe I've found a couple of those things, one in particular, thanks to some of the viewers who send me shit. But I do want to talk about the president, Joseph Rahim Biden. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations. Today I got the Taylor's Made Right cup from Marshalltown, Iowa, one of the first 3 Made Right locations in that region, and the only one left that uses the original processes. And The reason I need that too because I had a little cough syrup in there because I have a little bit of cough. And the reason I love this Taylor's Made Right, when I was a kid, that's where my grandparents are from, Marshalltown, Iowa. And so every time we went to Marshalltown, we stopped at Taylor's Made Right. And basically what they are is they call it a loose meat sandwich. Basically, it's just ground beef. It's ground up with basically salt and pepper, ground beef, but it's it's like crumbles. It's not like a sloppy Joe because there's no sauce, but it's crumbled ground beef, and they put it on this bun, and they put some pickles and mustard, and that's it. But they are so freaking good. It's just, I can't explain it. It sounds so boring, but it is. They're just unbelievable. They're really, really good. But the problem is, the ones at Taylor's Made Right with the original process taste so good. But then you go to like these other major, like there's one in St. Cloud, Minnesota. It's just not the same. They don't use the old process, and it's hard to explain. I have a video that I'll make about it. I'll put it on my other channel, Yes That Marty channel, eventually. But oh my gosh, they're so good, and they make handmade malts and shakes, and they have homemade pie in there. It's like the diner counter is basically the original diner counter that they had in 1928. So it's worn diner. They've had to put some new stuff over it, but it's just oh boy. I just can't explain it. You have to go to Marshalltown, Iowa sometime. if you're anywhere in Iowa, like near, if you have to, because most people don't really go to Marshalltown on purpose, except for if you have relatives who live there or if you live there. But if you're like in Des Moines, you might end up in Des Moines for a reason, and it's only about 35 minutes from Des Moines. I'm telling you. Wait, they got a big cooker in the basement. They cook the beef in. They are good. I have family Marshall. Oh yeah, no, the cooker's up on the main floor. They don't have it in the basement. No, they have the original cooker that they've been using. You're the first person I've ever met that had family in Marshalltown. There you go. Yeah, that's the home of Lennox Furnace. And then there's a couple other places. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. First, let's say good morning to everybody, and then we'll get the show going. First in chat today is Avocados Diabli, who gets the bell. Thank you for being here. Good morning, Tyrenius Alexandrius. Invictus Soul is in the house. Good morning, Tyre. And Mike Savage, Blarg. Simon Wolfwood. Tex AG's in the house. What's up? Nice to have you back. Good morning also. Reaccion Puerto Rico. Salute to you too, sir. Good morning. Maddie's in the house. Also, Asian Research Directorate. Select a boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, Attack Alpaca. Good morning. Let's see. Furry Kitten, what's up, my man? I'm surprised you're not. It's a little. Is the Queen? Are they driving her? Body around right now. I know this morning it was the last time that she will be in Buckingham Palace. They're driving her to, I think, I don't know where she's going to be laid to rest. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't even know you even care about that, Furry Kid. I should have asked first. Anyway, good morning, JC Vestgod. If I'm saying that right, I hope so. Good morning, Lord Stanhope. Let's see. Chris W, what's up? I was reminded this morning that LinkedIn is digital cancer. Carry on, LOL. Why is LinkedIn digital cancer? I'm not sure. Also, good morning, FX. That's the one I always have trouble with. FX is in the house. Nice to see you. Peggy Laswell, welcome back. Can't imagine what the Queen's funeral is going to cost. Yeah, well, it's a 1 in 96 year event, so at least it'll be a one-time expense. Don't know if that sounded right or not. I don't want to be disrespectful to the Queen, but I'm not necessarily. I don't still don't get the whole monarchy thing. But I mean, I understand that there are people who are into tradition and all that stuff. Good morning, Johnny Blaze, who also remembers that one of my nicknames is Lawyer Dog. I need a lawyer dog. But I'm not a lawyer, but I am a dog. Good morning also to, gosh, Septus Wolf's in the house. Let's see, who am I missing? Dom O'Leary, what's up? And Anna Lynn, Zombie Teddy's in the house. And I think we're doing okay. I think that's pretty much everybody. Jethro Hetero, I said Jethro Hetero. Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer of the morning. The original. Johnny Hellcat, the original. viewer of the Night Live. In fact, I named my producer after Johnny Hellcat just because, I thought that'd be cool. The producer, he's sitting right over there. Yeah, right there. Anyway, all right. Is that everybody? Let's do it. Hey, that's you're saying Mike Savage. Did I get everybody? That's everybody. So, Rockhopper's nice. Another friend from Down Under. Nice to see you. So, shall we get into it? Yesterday there was a big celebration at the White House, and it was. Joe Biden, he brought in the stars. They brought in James Taylor. They dusted off James Taylor, who now let me caveat here. Now, just a small caveat. I am a fan of James Taylor's music. Okay, James Taylor, he was a big deal in the 70s. Kind of in the early 80s, and I enjoy his music. I Handyman and Fire and Rain and I don't know, there's a bunch of songs he did, and I enjoy his music. The fact that they dusted him off for a celebration at the White House, I did not understand. I mean, because he's a mellow singer, and if you're celebrating, you don't want to come out here and James Taylor's not dead. How and why is James Taylor not dead yet? Because he's only let's see, how old is James Taylor? I don't even know. Let's see, how old is James Taylor? How old is James Taylor? Let's see, click. James Taylor, 74 years old. See, he's not dead old yet. He's a little bit older. He's only, he's only 15 years older than me. Anyway, that makes sense because in the 70s he was young. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, James Taylor sings really mellow songs. This is supposed to be a celebration at the White House, and he comes out and sings Fire. Now, he and his wife, I guess, was singing with him. They did do a really nice rendition of America the Beautiful, but again, it was so mellow, and this is a celebration. I didn't tell you what the celebration was about. The celebration, the White House, Joe Biden thought this was, and the White House thought this was a fantastic idea. They had a celebration about the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act. They had a celebration of, because they passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And that's all. They passed a bill. They had a celebration at the White House because they passed a bill. Yes, it's only a bill, and it made it through Capitol Hill. They just passed the Inflation Reduction Act that doesn't do shit. It'll probably make everything worse a bit, but they got it signed by the president that has dementia. And today, it's doing nothing for ya. Basically, they passed a bill where they're gonna have a lot more IRS agents. They did some Green New Deal shit, and what was the other thing? There was one other thing they did, but none of it's gonna reduce inflation. They passed a spending bill. That's what they did. And it was a spending bill because they could do it with reconciliation, so they wouldn't have to get a cloture vote in the Senate. So it was a spending bill. It's a budget bill. It had nothing to do with reducing inflation. In fact, they claim that they are going to reduce the deficit by $300 billion over 10 freaking years, which, that's a lie. It's just a flat out lie. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I don't even understand how they think that this is going to do anything. But let's talk about the celebration because they celebrated. Now, let me find my bookmarks here, and we'll start with this. So here on the Twitter machine, which everything that will be talked about today will be linked in a single link in the second paragraph of the description down below. Infamous one, what's up? In the description down below, and you'll be able to find all these things in case you want to write about it or tweet about it or make a video about it or just hear other people talk about it, and you'll be more informed than they are because this is all stuff that I looked up today. So first of all, I wanted to show you, this is the, here's the, I just put Biden Inflation Reduction Act because there's a lot of people talking about this. Oh, I suppose it would help if I did this. Let's try that. There we go. All right. There is Press Secretary Jean-Claude Van Damme. No, it's Karine. What's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre? Karine Jean-Pierre. She has a beautiful French name. And she was talking about today while President Biden and Vice President are focused on the historic passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. So it's the historic passage of a spending bill. Now, fuck what Lindsey Graham gave them a gift by introducing some, national abortion restriction act in 15 weeks, blah, 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 which isn't going to pass anyway in this Senate or House. But he gave him a gift. I think Lindsey Graham's an op. I don't think he's really, anyway, not important. Anyway, let's talk about this Inflation Reduction Act celebration. Latrine. Yeah, some people call her latrine. That's funny too. Anyway, here's Reuters. Now this is Reuters, a very White House friendly news organization whose headline is Biden celebrates Inflation Reduction Act as food rent prices climb. Now, when they decided to have this celebration, I'm pretty confident that they thought, because there were the experts. The experts predicted that the inflation rate as compared to year would tick down again. They thought it would. And so they said, you know what? We're taking a chance, but we're going to have this celebration. It didn't tick down. The year went up and month to month went up. Now, ever so slightly, but more than they expected. So first of all, they have a celebration of the Inflation Reduction Act on a day where inflation rose again. Also, it's the day the stock market was taking a beating. Oh, let's read some of this article. President Joe Biden celebrated climate change. Wait a minute. Listen to this. What's the name of the bill? What's the name of the bill? The Inflation Reduction Act. Here's the first line of Reuters' article. President Joe Biden celebrated his climate change and drug pricing law, the Inflation Reduction Act, on Tuesday on the White House lawn, highlighting Democrats' commitment to progressive priorities even as high consumer prices continue to bite.
Your life makes me sad.
That doesn't sound good. Celebrated his climate change and drug pricing law, even as high consumer prices continue to bite. Biden signed the $430 billion with a B dollar bill, seen as the biggest climate change package in U.S. history, into law last month in a low-key ceremony. On Tuesday, the Tuesday event on the White House South Lawn brought together lawmakers, cabinet members, activists, and interest groups who supported it and gave Biden an opportunity to tout drug price caps, electric vehicle grants, and minimum corporate tax, key issues for his political base. Interesting. So, drug price caps, but the drug, let me just tell you something here. The drug price caps are strictly for Medicare. Okay, so for the elderly, that's great because the elderly are on Medicare, or the disabled, right? They're on Medicare, right? Where do you think the drug companies are going to make up the cost? On you who are not on Medicare, or your insurance companies that are not Medicare. So the insurance companies are going to end up paying more for drugs. So it's like, robbing Peter to pay Paul. But anyway, and also the electric vehicle grant. So there's a bunch of companies said, hey, yeah, we're going to make our electric vehicles in the United States. Now we kind of talk about how this so-called climate change with electric vehicles is kind of a, in the end of it, it's a sham, because the carbon footprint of an electric vehicle right now is higher than that of a gas-powered vehicle. The amount of mining they need to make enough batteries, we read the article about there's probably not going to be enough lithium in the entire world to replace all gas-powered vehicles. So if I were, look, some of these car manufacturers, and then also they're giving subsidies. They're giving the car manufacturers. Oh, remember how they talk about how, the tax cuts for the rich, and the government keeps giving money to the rich, and blah 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 blah. You know who they're giving money to when they do electric vehicle grants? Who do you think that money goes to? Does it go to the poorest of the poor? Or does it go to extremely wealthy corporations? Because what happens when they give you a grant to buy a new car, right? Or even if they give you a tax credit or something like this, what do the car manufacturers do? Well, they raise the price of their car by the amount of the tax credit that you're going to probably get. So you're not getting shit out of this. And if you can afford an electric car, and then you got to power an electric car, then you got to have the electric grid, and then you have to have the minerals to make the batteries, which is going to be it's you might be just better off either coming up with better gas mileage cars, or now some enterprising company is eventually going to figure out how to make a safe hydrogen-powered vehicles. Hydrogen is pretty plentiful, or even natural gas. Natural gas is pretty plentiful, and not so much. It doesn't have quite the emissions that traditional petroleum gas does. But so I don't know. Some company's going to get rich doing that, and why they have to give money to these companies. But hey, some of them are going to make those. They're going to make those cars in America. They're going to start making solar panels in America. Cylindra. They're going to start doing all this stuff in America. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's see how this article goes. Biden said the law was one of the most significant in U.S. history. Really? The law was one of the most significant in U.S. history? Right up there with the Emancipation Proclamation and Prohibition? One of the most significant in U.S. history? Really? Today offers proof that the soul of America is vibrant. The future of America is bright, and the promise of America is real. Shut the fuck up, Joe. The event brought some musical star power, too, with singer-songwriter James Taylor. Ah! James Taylor! Ah! Oh, my God. Look, unless you're my age, you don't know who the hell James Taylor is. Well, I suppose there's a couple people close to my age in here. Anyway, strikes me that this is a time when the world needs to this is James Taylor said. It strikes me that this is a time when the world needs to cooperate more than ever before, referring to the climate change crisis. Because it's a climate bill. It's not an inflation reduction bill. It's not going to reduce inflation. Look, in fact, food price. Oh, my gosh. Food prices is going to be nasty, man. Food prices are going to be nasty. Fight for our right. Good morning. The electric car was invented 100 years ago for a reason. Yeah. And which one took off? The ones with more power and more reliable. Look, now, granted, electric car technology is great. I encourage anyone who has the money or the wherewithal, the gumption to buy an electric car. Buy an electric car. Some are really good. And in fact, a lot of electric, like those Teslas. Those Teslas are fast. Do you know that? You know the Teslas are fast cars. But I live in Minnesota. I ain't buying no damn electric car because they're inefficient in cold weather, and half of our year, or at least a quarter of our year, is cold weather. So I'm not buying one. I'm going to keep driving my gas-powered vehicles as long as they keep selling them. And when they stop selling them, I'll buy used ones until I can't afford it anymore. But I'll probably be dead before that anyway, so I don't care. Anyway, now, he says, Joe also said, the event coincided with, this is great. Here's the best part of this. Inflation Reduction Act passage celebration. Woohoo! Where's that party horn? There we go. Yay! The event coincided with the release of the Labor Department figures that showed an unexpected August rise in U.S. consumer prices as rent and food continue to decline. Food prices are still going crazy. The economy continues to be the biggest issue for voters ahead of the November midterm elections, posing risks for Democrats trying to maintain control of Congress. The other part about this Inflation Reduction Act is even the drug cost reducing measures that they put in this act, they don't take effect for another like 2 to 3 years. Did you realize that? So he's talking in this speech. He's talking about, we reduced prices for Americans. No, you didn't, because this ain't happening right now. In fact, Jean-Claude Pierre, Karina, what's her name? Jean-Claude. I keep wanting to call her Jean-Claude Pierre. Karina, or Latrine, whichever you prefer. Jean-Pierre was asked during the little press briefing right before this thing happened. They were talking about that fact that, a lot of these provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, like the drug price provisions, aren't going to take effect till like 2026, right? And so, and she said, well, what about people who are, the inflation report came out today, and inflation's high, food's high, cost of living high, house is high, this is high, that high. This isn't going to affect anybody right now. You know what her answer was? Well, there are some provisions of the law that people can take advantage of right now. For example, if you put solar panels on your house, you can get a significant cost savings from that, the grants and blah, 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 blah from that right now. And if you put in new doors and windows, you can get a 10% tax credit and this and that. It's like, so here's what she told us. She said that you have to spend money to save money. There was a character on Saturday Night Live. I can't remember who played the character, but it was a character that was during the Weekend Update, and she would come on and they would say something, and she would have a topic, and the only memorable line from it, which is very appropriate right now, is excuse me, let me got to get my acting chops ready. In fact, I'm going to do this right now. Let's move this here. Let me recite the line from Saturday Night Live Weekend Update. The character, I don't even remember the name of the character, but here is the appropriate tagline for what Karine Jean-Pierre said in that press conference. Excuse me. Bitch, please. That's the only thing I can say right now. Bitch, please. So anyway, let's take a couple. We're gonna watch a few videos here. We're gonna see some things that happen. Here's Joe Biden, because he's already complaining, knowing that he's gonna get savaged for this stupid celebration he did. So he's getting out ahead of the game by saying something that I think he's correct on. He is 100% correct, because I'm doing exactly what he said, and here it is. Here's Joe Biden trying to get ahead of the criticism that he's going to get for this celebration of the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really a climate change and what was the other part? Climate change and something bill. Pharmaceutical drug something prices bill. This is the Inflation Reduction Act. Here it is. Here's Joe Biden.
We're often told there's nothing to get done in Washington.
Yeah.
Too often.
Hey, by the way, we were told too often something we'd never get nothing done in Washington. You know what, Joe? I wish you would not get anything done in Washington. I wish y'all would take 2 years off. No bills, no new bills, no new spending, no nothing. Just let the automatic payments that go out to like the Social Security and all that shit, let that run. Let the stuff that has to be paid, and you all just stay home for a couple years. That would be awesome. Anyway, just let me let him finish. I'm gonna let you finish, but I gotta say that Beyonce had the best video of all time. Here we go.
Confuse noise with substance.
Mm-hmm.
Too often we confuse setbacks with defeat. Too often we hand the biggest
the inflation that happened yesterday that you weren't expecting.
Microphones to the critics and cynics.
Oh, he said you. Let me replay that.
And the biggest microphone. Too often we hand the biggest microphones to the critics and cynics.
Yep, not in the media, because the media is very slow to criticize you, Joe.
Who delight in declaring failure, while those committed to making real progress through the hard work of government.
Ah, yes, the Democrats.
But I know with conviction, commitment, and patience, progress does come, and it's coming now.
Okay, there's Joe. So that was Joe preempting the criticism he's going to get. So let's look at some of the criticism you got. First, now if this is expected, it's Fox News, because they're very critical of the Democrats, because they're the only ones right now that have a big enough platform that where they are seen. But here we go.
Joining us right now, somebody who loves the song Fire and Rain, just not perhaps yesterday.
I've seen rain.
Clay Travis. Clay, good morning to you.
Okay, let's see what Clay Travis has to say.
Oh, this is, look, good morning to you.
Cringe as fuck.
Steve,
that's what you're trying to come up with. No, that's the word you're trying to come up with. This is cringe as fuck having James Taylor start this thing. I watched this thing yesterday, and I was going to do it live, commentary. And James Taylor came on, and I was just like, are you serious? What is this? They literally made this a celebration at the White House. They were just cheesing it up. It's crazy. Anyway,
suffering from cognitive decline and has no idea what's going on.
Clay, nasty. That's
from one
nasty.
day
That's
to
not
another.
right, Clay. You can't
so
say
I
that.
kind of give him a pass on this. Every single person that okayed this in the White House should be immediately fired for being too dumb to advise any president, regardless of party.
Straight up.
The stock market had its worst day since Joe Biden came into office. As he's speaking, you can see it's down 1,200 points, 8.3% inflation, a 40-year high. And they were somehow celebrating this?
Yes, they were,
so
Clay.
tone-deaf.
They were
there's a reason why
celebrating.
Joe Biden's,
They brought
overall
James
approval
Taylor.
ratings went up when he went on vacation and got COVID for 2 weeks and couldn't talk to anybody. It's because people don't realize how incompetent and without any skill at all this White House is. Biden is the worst president and also led by the dumbest.
Now, you know the people on the left are going to say that the guy with the funny hair was the worst president because, Orange Man is very bad and Joe Biden is the greatest thing since sliced bread. In fact, I saw somebody tweet yesterday, I was a supporter of Trump, but Joe Biden is just the best president we've ever had. And I laughed because it was one of those bot-generated things. I saw like 50 of the same message. But anyway, let's finish this up.
Advisors of any president in any of our lives. And this, to me, celebration crystallized that idiocy.
Well, Clay, the song Fire and Rain is about suicide and heroin addiction. So maybe it makes sense that they would do it yesterday with the stock market falling off the cliff.
Yes, Clay, I'm sure there might have been a few people contemplating that yesterday. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
To your point about whoever's whispering in the president's ear, when it comes to messaging, the messaging is terrible.
Why does Jill, look, now, Jill Biden looks pretty good for her age, right? A nice-looking old gal and decent person. Why does she always wear freaking Why does she always make dresses out of curtains? I can't understand it. Anyway.
Terrible with this White House, aside from the fact that they got to put on a happy face because midterms are around the corner. But at the same time, they say regarding the economy, we've got this. Whatever economic advisors he's listening to,
It's
he needs to
stupid.
listen to somebody else because this ain't working.
No doubt. And not only is this a sign of incompetence and idiocy, it just further cements the fact that everything Joe Biden touches gets worse. I've been using on my radio show, Steve, the concept of the Midas touch. It's the exact opposite of the Midas touch. Everything Midas touch
The
turns to
Midas
gold.
touch.
Everything Joe Biden touches turns to crap.
That's funny.
And yet they continue to let him
Well,
touch
you know
as many
what?
different things
Hey,
as he
who
can.
famously said, somebody famously said this, that Joe has like an uncanny ability to fuck things up. That was his own president who said that. Barack Obama. I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact words, but that was Barack Obama who said that. Anyway,
in this country, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's the border, which you won't even acknowledge, whether it's crime, the murder rate.
Oh, no. They acknowledged it. Kamala Harris said the border is secure. The border is secure. Now, okay, I never did the answer the other day. Has she ever been to the border since she became border czar? I know she's been to Colombia and not Nicaragua, and she's been somewhere down there in Central America. What are those? I don't even know what are the countries in Central America. Okay, I'm losing my mind. Let's
skyrocketing all over the country since he's come into office. You mentioned suicide and drugs. Well, we can't even stop fentanyl from coming into the country. And
well,
as a
no,
result,
they actually no, that's not true, Clay. No, that is not true. They've had record seizures of fentanyl at the border during the Biden administration because. So they're stopping some of it. They've had record seizures. Of course, that means there's probably record amounts coming in, but that's, they've had some success.
People are dying at outlandish rates of drug overdoses right now. It's all a abject failure. And this incident, this event, this celebration that they chose to throw yesterday is one of the most tone-deaf things I've ever seen a president do in my life.
And one of the other things
I gotta wonder.
They're talking about, well, the price of gas is way down. Here's the thing: the price of fuel oil.
Okay, maybe he'll make this point. Yeah, the price of gas is down, right? But the month-to-month consumer prices still went up 0.1%. So everything else went up to offset that price of gas going down that they keep crowing about. Wow, not good.
Oil is going up 70%. And I know you like to spend a lot of time in warmer climates, but the folks in America who live up north here, who rely on heating oil, when
in the Northeast,
we get
the shit's
to
going to hit the
December,
fan.
January, February,
that strategic
and
oil
they
reserve
have
is
to make
probably
a
going to be
choice.
mostly gone.
Am I going to be warm in my house or eat? Conveniently for this administration, it's after the midterms.
There's going to be a lot of thermostats set at 62. You'll be wearing sweatshirts and long underwear and shit if you live in the Northeast. Now, fortunately, where I live, we're mostly natural gas, but in the Northeast, they all use that. They buy heating oil and shit. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't imagine.
Yeah, look, Steve, that's a great point. When Joe Biden came into office,
thank you, Advocate Ciabi, is don't underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up. That was the quote.
This inflation rate, I believe, was 1.4%. We're now setting at 8.3%. The price of gas is down from $5, but it's still very much elevated from where it was last year. And the larger context here, every single American has lost money based on the rapid increase in price costs because our wages have not grown as fast. So whether you're a Democrat, Republican, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, gay, straight, whatever identity you embrace.
He didn't say trans black women. I'm very disappointed, Clay.
The identity that all of us have embraced, unfortunately, under Joe Biden is we've all gotten pay cuts. He has absolutely destroyed this economy. And today, yesterday, he celebrated it. It's embarrassing. It's time for there to be a red wave.
Times, come on! All right, so that's Clay Travis doing exactly what Joe Biden said that we would do. The naysayers are going to talk about how bad he is, and okay, I'm all here for it. Here's another guy. Now, I've never heard of this guy. I don't even know what Red Apple Media is. For all I know, this could be some, someone I probably shouldn't be putting on the internet, but I don't care because, when the Inflation Reduction Act goes into effect, clearance was $348, now $550. Instead of $8. So this is some guy. It was a pretty good. It was pretty good. So let's.
Even folks like Bernie Sanders have taken Joe Biden to task for selling Congress and America a bill of goods that doesn't exist. $740 billion spending bill, and he's going to celebrate that today at the White House. Yesterday, Joe Biden was in Boston, and he was talking about how the price of gas is down. Janet Yellen says that she really believes the Treasury Secretary, another doofus, that come winter, the gas prices will spike again, and they're going to be really, really bad. She made that prediction on CNN on Sunday. But Biden yesterday bragging about gas prices being down as he gets set once again to celebrate his Inflation Reduction Act today, which does not reduce inflation. Here was Biden yesterday in Boston bragging about gas prices. Lewis, this is Biden cut number one.
The price of gas, when we said what I was doing wouldn't make any difference, and guess what?
Oh,
it's
guess
down
what?
$1.30 since the start of the summer.
It was up $10.
It continues to go down.
It continues to go down. It was up so high. Of course, eventually it's going to go down. What good is going down to $1.30 when it was almost $7 in places like Los Angeles? So what? It went down to $1.30. It's got to go down a heck of a lot more.
Got to come down. Okay, enough of that. Thank you, Maddie. First sponsor of the day. Hold on a second here. Should we have music for the sponsors today? Why not? Let's have some smooth soul. Let's try this one. Let's see. Dreamy Laid Back. Now I'm going to go Happy Hopeful. Here we go. Thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. And Maddie, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Maddie says, sure. Oh, that's really loud, isn't it? Let's turn that down a little bit. Oh, that's okay. Never mind. It's just loud on my end. Okay. Maddie says, sure, gas has gone down, but prices are going up because diesel is going up. Yeah, truckers know that shit, right? And when diesel goes up, everything goes up to compensate for it. After all, without diesel, 18-wheelers can't deliver anything. Thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. That was a very poignant thing. All right, let's stop that music. You know, the other thing that's happening that Karine Jean-Pierre was being asked about yesterday was the fact that there's a railroad strike on the horizon, and they're not making any progress. Now, you got to remember that a great deal of American goods are shipped by rail, a very large portion. And, they try to make it so the truckers can make up for it. But a railroad strike is not a good thing when you're already having supply chain issues. And it can cost people a lot. And I don't know how that's going to work. So anyway. I have a few more reactions to this and we're going to move on. Just people thinking about this. So our friend over at Boomy Leaks says the fact that Biden scheduled a celebration of the Inflation Reduction Act on the day inflation data was released suggests his plan was to take credit for inflation easing, but was instead blindsided by the data. Yes, it was very unexpected that the inflation numbers would be worse than expected. So there you go. Let's see. That's not the right one. Oh, okay. Here's one here too. And then someone named Jimmy Petronas. I don't know who Jimmy Petronas is. He's Florida's chief financial officer and state fire marshal. Says, just so we're clear, the Inflation Reduction Act didn't reduce inflation. Based on today's CPI report, inflation is up. However, what Biden's law did do is create an army of 87,000 IRS personnel to go after small businesses in Florida. Apparently, Washington needs more money. Okay. I got you there, brother. Let's see. And then is that it? I think that's all I have. That's my last inflation thing. All right, let's move on to some other news because I'm sure that I'm boring you to tears talking about this all day. Anyway, but I do, before I move on, though, I absolutely need you to make sure that you celebrate, because Joe Biden believes we need to celebrate, and there you go. So congratulations, Joe Biden, on passing the Inflation Reduction Act, which is really a climate and drug prices act. So, all right, let's see. Now, I got a lot of just, speaking of economic news. Now, this is slightly related, and I'm not going to go into the article, but the New York Times put out this morning. This is this morning. New York City. Oh, what the hell did I do there? Let's try that again. Let's do the right one. There we go. New York City is still missing 176,000 jobs it lost early in the pandemic, representing the slowest recovery of any major metropolitan area, according to the latest employment data. I don't know why. It's really hard for a lot of people, but you must not never surrender. I think they meant ever surrender. Fight, because life can't win you. You must win life. Okay. With the recession looming, the next few years will be a struggle in New York City. Yeah, it probably is. What do you mean looming? Okay. Granted, we have had 2 months of negative growth. Now, it was slight negative growth. It's going to be interesting to see over the next few months, especially as those heating oils are going to start kicking in. Did I say heating oil? I meant to say heating oil. I don't know what I actually came out of my mouth. Food prices are not going down anytime soon. In fact, they're probably going to get worse, because this year's all the food that they're harvesting now is what you're going to start paying for. And like Maddie said, diesel prices are still high. The fertilizer they paid to grow this food is high. It's even tougher to get water in some places. It's not going to be a good season. I hope you got some rice stored up in your basement and some shit, because you might need to dip into your emergency supplies, like the strategic oil reserve. You're going to dip into your own personal strategic oil reserve. Anyway, that's not good. It's funny, because hasn't Joe Biden been he's been bragging about all the jobs, right? The job report. Oh yeah, that we've got all the jobs back. Well, apparently not in New York City. Might be time to get out of New York City. All right, let's go and do some other things. Remember John Durham? Remember that guy? He's trending today. John Durham, the guy who was investigating the investigators and the people who were going to bring about who brought on the whole Russian collusion shit. They've prosecuted a couple people. The guy, they gave a little slap on the wrist for the dude that faked some emails, whatever, to get a FISA warrant, whatever, which he should be in jail, but he's not. But anyway, so Durham investigation, apparently it's somewhat, it's possible that it's coming to a close. Now, there are some a few new things that are in here. Here's just the news. I think, is this Solomon who wrote this? I don't know. Anyway, new Durham bombshell. FBI paid Russian accused of lying as a confidential informant against Trump. The FBI paid Russian accused of lying as a confidential informant. Prosecutor says Igor Dachenko, a primary source for the discredited Steele dossier, was paid by FBI as a confidential human source for 3 years, despite prior concerns he was tied to Russian intelligence services. Remember, they were talking about how Donald Trump was colluding with the Russians? Well, it seems like the FBI might have been colluding with the Russians. Rent is too damn high. Yes. Oh, I should have that I need to bring that as a soundbite. I need that as a soundbite. Anyway, in a bombshell revelation, Special Prosecutor John Durham revealed Tuesday in court filings that the FBI paid a Russian businessman as a confidential human source in the investigation of Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, even though it had prior concerns that businessman was tied to Moscow's intelligence services. Durham persuaded the federal judge in the upcoming trial of Igor Danchenko to unseal the motion, revealing that Danchenko, the primary source of the now discredited Steele dossier, was paid by the FBI as a confidential human source for more than 3 years until the fall of 2020 when he was terminated for lying to agents. Danchenko is charged with 5 counts of lying to the Bureau during that relationship and faces a trial next month in federal court in the Virginia suburbs of Washington, D.C., and so on and so forth. So that's one thing. But here's the thing about this Durham investigation. A lot of people are talking about it. In fact, here we go. 8 takeaways from. In fact, I'll put these articles out. I'm not going to go into it, but Margot Cleveland put an article in the Federalist too. Let's see what the 8 takeaways are. Well, we read some of it. The paid for Russian disinformation to frame Trump, and 7 other takeaways from Durham's latest court filings. Is she putting these in a neat little list? You can read the details. Trials for lying to the FBI to take down the president. He faces a trial next month. 5 counts of lying to the FBI, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. Danchenko sought to broker Putin's purchase of classified intel. What? He was a subject of a counterintelligence operation, blah, blah, blah. No, this is not a neat list. So you can check this out yourself. I'm not going to waste time on this. But anyway, lots of people are talking about Durham today, though. In the New York Times, where's the New York Times article? I thought I had this already up here somewhere. Maybe it's right there. Oh, here's the New York Times tweet. If history is a guide, the Durham report will be a bombshell. New York Times also downplayed the Horowitz report on FISA abuse, and we saw how that turn out. So here's the New York. Now listen. So Durham is not investigating Trump, right? Durham is investigating the people who came up with this cockamamie bullshit Steele dossier and tried to make this whole Trump-Russia thing a thing, right? That's what he's investigating. Listen to the New York Times tweet. I don't know if this is the headline, but here's the tweet that they put out today. Listen to the wording very carefully and tell me what's wrong with this wording. John Durham, the special counsel examining the origins of the Trump campaign's ties to Russia, will deliver a final report this year. He appears to be winding down his inquiry without anything close to the results that Donald Trump was seeking. What's wrong with that sentence? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ah, doop 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 boom boom. Hello, Bishop. Hello, Infamous One. Nice to see you in this chat today. Examining the origin of Trump's campaign tied to Russia. Is that what he's investigating? Is that what he's investigating? No, because they know there was no ties to Trump's campaign to Russia. We've already established that. There were no ties. The ties, what Durham is looking for, is who came up with this bullshit. Excuse me. Who came up with this? He's investigating the investigators. But the New York Times words it as though examining the origins of the Trump's campaign's ties to Russia. You mean the lies that there were, or that the Trump campaign had ties to Russia, when in fact the Clinton campaign and the Perkins Coie lawyers paid a foreign spy to come up with a dossier? Now, granted, the way the New York Times says this, he appears to be winding down his inquiry without anything close to the results that Donald Trump was seeking. Well, what were the results that Donald Trump was seeking? New York Times. Now, a couple of replies here. Durham has conducted an investigation for 3 years without a single leak because he has integrity and not corrupt like the FBI. Oh, damn. Snap. Is he carrying a picnic basket? No, it's a little, looks like a Gucci briefcase or suitcase almost. Anyway, they look like they have Gucci cases there. I don't know. Anyway, Durham's investigation doesn't need to find anything to be a success for Trump. Its mere existence helped convince the GOP voters that Trump had no ties with Russia. Okay, do you have anything that you can claim there, Mr. Johnny Soko? Don't care. Anyway, so I just fascinated that it's winding down, and he's trending today. Let's move on. This is a day of remembrance, by the way. We lost Norm Macdonald 1 year ago today. He once roasted me at the Hookie Lao in Springfield, Massachusetts. I've been bored every single day of my life since. Yeah, Norm Macdonald died a year ago today. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Some of my other favorite McDonald's. Tom McDonald and Ronald McDonald. Anyway, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Next. Now, this might be my favorite story of the day. Well, maybe not. More like my biggest cringe story of the day. So, someone has come up with a new definition for woman. The new definition of woman just dropped. Now, I saw this tweet, right? And so this was so they showed this picture, a non-circular and trans-inclusive definition of woman, because the problem is every time these people who the gender activists, whatever, the trans activists, whatever, you say, well, you ask about a woman. Well, a woman is someone who identifies as a woman, because that's known as a circular definition, right? You're not defining something by using the word in the definition, right? Oh, avocado, why'd you have to ruin my fun? Yes. Here's the definition, and we're gonna read that story. Here it is. The new definition is: a woman is an adult human whose subconscious sex is female. Now, and then the beauty of it is it doesn't include trans men or cis men. Their subconscious sex is male. Now, first of all, it's funny because they're only worried about defining woman because maybe that's the answer. Hello, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
So I think the first question that comes to mind, if your subconscious sex is female, how would you know? And also, first of all, sex isn't a conscious or subconscious thing. Sex is an immutable characteristic in humans and other mammals and actually other animals in the animal kingdom. It's not a lion does not have a subconscious sex. A tortoise does not have a subconscious sex. It's a physical immutable characteristic. But anyway, we'll get into that story. Good God, these people have their heads so far up their asses they give each other free colonoscopies on the regular. Yeah, they give themselves free colonoscopies. So now some of the replies to this are as expected. So sex matters again, but only subconsciously and not biologically, because biology is transphobic and sex is transphobic, but not if it's only in your own mind, the ultimate safe space. Yeah. Foremost in understanding is realizing that one is not born a woman, but one becomes a woman. Well, yeah, because a woman is an adult human female. But let's one of my favorite tweets about this is Colin Wright, Swipe Right. He does a lot of work on this particular topic. It's hilarious watching them struggle and squirm to define terms at the center of their ideology. So what do we call people who don't have a, quote, subconscious sex, end quote, but whose actual biological sex is female? Because that's where in the past, it was your biological sex, right? Blue-Eyed Scream, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here. Do these people hate women or just themselves? A little of both. So anyway, I wanted to so this tweet that showed me this didn't have the and this is some John Poles or whatever, just put screenshots. So I went and looked up the article, which is right here. So let's go through a little bit of this article because this is fascinating. I got to tell you, it's fascinating. A non-circular and trans-inclusive definition of woman. Find out if you are a woman. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Remember the word subconscious. This is the article now. I was hoping that I could avoid having to write this article, and yet I can't help but notice that no one seems to have come up with a genuinely inclusive definition that makes sense, at least to me. Some people even seem to think that trying is pointless. However, plenty of people have taken the liberty of coming up with definitions which invalidate me as a feminine trans man. And I'm not going to keep putting up with it. Damn it.
Beta!
I'm going to suggest my own definition which doesn't invalidate me. Me, which is the theme in trans ideology. And hopefully doesn't invalidate anyone else. Now, I don't mind this person talking about this because people don't talk about trans men that often, and they're very just like an afterthought for most people, and it's unfortunate, I guess. Anyway. Lots of people have been saying that gender is the socially constructed set of social roles, behaviors, expectations, etc. associated with a given sex, and that woman is gender. But if being a woman is really is stuff like liking the color pink, then I want to say that's really rude because I like the color pink and I don't think that makes me any less of a man. And if I started wearing dresses every day and being a stay-at-home parent who bakes casseroles for his husband and kids, I'd still be a man. Okay, that didn't make sense. And there are trans women out there who wear suits and are career-oriented, and they're still women. So please stop saying that stuff because it's wrong. Now, this is kind of the rub on the entire trans ideology thing because we've been talking about intersectional feminism for the last several years, and they're saying, oh, this is gender roles are oppressive and they're this and that, and this is not, feminist, blah, 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 blah. And even the radical feminists say that gender roles are oppressive. I don't think gender roles are necessary. I mean, gender roles are kind of natural things that happen. It's not necessarily that anyone's forcing you into some gender role. Although society tends to look things the way the majority does, and the majority tends to categorize people in certain roles. But over the years, with the rise of feminism and women voting on that shit, a lot of those roles have changed, right? But if you look at most super egalitarian societies, it's funny how some of those roles, in the most places where the things are the most equal, they exacerbate because it just is. You look at the career paths of most people, and they go into directions that seem like they'd be stereotypical, even if it's such a more equal. Everyone says, "Oh, it's a more equal society in the Scandinavian countries," but their divergence in types of careers men and women do is greater than even here. So it's weird. It's a whole weird thing that I'd like to talk about. And actually, I'm gonna have a guest on it in 2 weeks. 2 Fridays from now, that we're going to talk about this. One of the people who are who's been fighting the whole gender ideology shit, and I'll announce that later. Anyway, so let me get back into this because So this person is actually acknowledging that, though, that, oh, these people who are saying that, oh, that trans women are women or whatever, they hyper accentuate gender roles and gender stereotypes. And so this person is saying, hey, wait a minute. That's not cool. Now, this person's a trans person, too, who probably hyper accentuates what men are supposed to be. How do you say you are a man, you're a trans man. What does that mean? That, oh, I feel like a man. What does that mean? How does being a man feel like? Do you know? I don't know. Anyway, tangent over. Continued. Some other people, or sometimes the very same people, have been saying that a woman is anyone, quote, anyone who identifies as a woman, end quote, as if that's a good definition. It's not. And here's why. Thank you for recognizing this. 1, it's circular. 2, it excludes trans women who are in denial, aka eggs, since they do not yet identify as women. What? Yet in retrospect, the vast majority of them say that they were always women. Oh, so people who decide they're trans when they're 50. They're women, they're trans women, but they don't know it yet. 3, it includes trans men who are in denial, since they might identify as women, yet in retrospect, the vast majority of them say that they were never women. Okay, I see where this came from now. I'm understanding the new definition that this person's come up with. 4, it's useless for people who are questioning and wondering whether they are women. If you don't already identify as a woman, then the question of whether or not you are a woman seems to be always no. And number 5, most women who do not feel that they, quote, identify as a woman, end quote, they feel that they simply are women. This includes many trans women, by the way. So trans women are women. They don't identify as women. They are women. Well, by what definition? Oh, this person's going to come up with a definition that helps this along. It really doesn't, but here we go. To be honest, this should have never become a definition to begin with. I think what people mean when they say a woman is someone who identifies as a woman is something like, if someone tells you they are a woman, believe them and treat them accordingly. It's not meant to be a definition. It's just a guideline for ethical conduct. Even when you go to the doctor? Kind of like how autistic self-diagnosis is considered valid within the autistic community. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. It doesn't mean that if you ask an autistic person to define autism, they're going to say an autistic person is someone who identifies as autistic. Oh, that's a medical psychological definition, and only the doctors can necessarily claim I can identify as with autism now, and I'm not autistic. Oh my God. However, I understand why we've turned it into a definition. I think it's because there has been a hermeneutical lacuna. By the way, if you want to know what hermeneutical it means of or pertaining to hermeneutics, the study or theory of the methodical interpretation of text, especially holy text. Oh, because this is a religion. It's within the context of Miranda Fricker's concept of hermeneutical injustice. Oh my God. You can read more about that in my essay, which I did put up here, which I'm not going to read it. But anyway, the basic of it is we've been relying on cis people's words and concepts to try to understand and convey our experiences. Stop using the word cis in sociology. It's a chemistry term. And it hasn't been working for us. There's a hermeneutical lacuna, which is keeping us from effectively discussing the trans experience. it's interesting because you're talking about the trans experience, but you say you are a man and you always were a man. So why is there a trans experience if you are a man? Anyway, and what it means to be a woman or man. And instead of addressing the lacuna, we've filled existing cis categories like the gender category with a bunch of new words. I mean, I have nothing against creating new genders, but that's not going to be enough. Oh no, what else do we need? In order to help us resolve this lacuna, I want to introduce a term which you might not have encountered before. It was coined by a trans feminist writer, of course, because you need to make explanations for shit that don't make sense. Activist Julia Serrano. For the record, she might not agree with my attempt at coming up with a definition for the word woman, so don't blame her for what I'm doing here. Here's the term: subconscious sex. Sex is a physiological condition. It's not a conscious decision. It's never mind. An unconscious and inexplicable self-understanding regarding what sex one belongs to or should be. That's subconscious sex. An unconscious and inexplicable self-understanding regarding what one's sex would be. This is like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, you know, those fake studies that I can't remember, it was Rufo and Helen, what's her name, they came up with, and they submitted them to journals and got peer reviews on them, and they were all made up bullshit. That's what this sounds like. It's worth noting that cis people also have a subconscious sex, but they aren't aware of it because it matches their birth sex. Kind of like how you don't notice your glasses until they become smudged and blur your vision. Okay, are you someone who wears glasses? I'm curious. I notice my glasses even when I'm wearing them, but I don't wear them that often. I usually wear my contacts. Anyway, it's also worth noting that this concept is different from the concept of gender identity, and I go into the reasons why in my essay, which is probably that same one. If you're wondering what your subconscious sex is, try to imagine the following scenario. You wake up one morning and your body has been turned into that of the sex opposite to the one you were born. What? You wake up, I'm just reading it again because I don't understand what the hell she, whatever this is, said. You wake up one morning and your body has been turned into that of the sex opposite to the one you were born as, e.g., if you were born male, your body is now female. A button appears along with a sign that says, press this button to change back into your original body. Once you change back into your original body, you will not be able to go back to being the opposite sex, even through hormones or surgery. If you do not press the button within 24 hours, your body will remain the sex opposite to your birth sex, but you will still have the option of changing your sex characteristics through hormones and or surgery. I hope you understood that because I'm not reading it again. Do you think you'd press the button before the 24 hours have elapsed? If the answer is yes, your subconscious sex is probably the same as your birth sex. If the answer is maybe or no, you might want to do some soul searching. You might be trans. But didn't you just say trans? You just are? There's no trans? This finally brings us to our definition. A woman is an adult human whose subconscious sex is female. The beauty of it is that it doesn't include trans men or cis men. Their subconscious sex is male. And it includes both cis women and trans women. Their subconscious sex is female. It also doesn't invalidate gender nonconforming trans and cis people. Well, thank God for that. The best thing about it is the person who is best qualified to know whether or not you are a woman is still you, which means that we can still keep our beloved ethical guideline of respecting people's self-identification, except that now the word woman actually means something. No, it doesn't. It does not. Oh my God. Now here's responding to potential questions and objectives. 1, why do we even need a definition in the first place? The purpose of defining what it means to be a woman is to be able to know if you are one, and for you to be able to communicate that to other people. Well, why would you need to communicate that to other people? Does it matter what you're communicating to other people? Does it really? I mean, if you're a woman, you're a woman. Why do you need to communicate it? Why? Then other people should have the common courtesy of taking your word for it. This is a courtesy which cis people very commonly extend in cases where trans people aren't involved. For example, if a cis person accidentally misgenders another cis person, e.g. short metal dude with long hair seen from the back, you're usually very apologetic about it. They're even apologetic about accidentally misgendering cis people's pets. By the way, I know that misgendering contains the word gender, which is annoying, but I hope you know what I mean. Well, I'm sorry that you annoyed yourself there. Here's another one. Is this really a useful definition for the purposes of feminism? What? Wait, what? Okay, let's find out. Yeah, I think so. People whose subconscious sex is female do absorb a lot of the social expectations that are directed at women regardless of their birth sex, because they tend to unconsciously feel that these expectations are directed at them. And out trans women often suffer from the same kinds of discrimination that cis women suffer from, and additional forms of discrimination on top of that. Okay. And then the final question. But it's possible to be trans without experiencing physical dysphoria. Indeed, just because your subconscious sex doesn't match your birth sex doesn't mean you'll necessarily experience physical dysphoria, and at least not in the way most people imagine it. It can be more of a sense of dissonance. I explained that in my essay. She keeps linking to her essays, in which I also address five other misconceptions you might have about subconscious sex. Conclusion. I don't like writing conclusions. Notes on the thought experiment. I must credit the trans community for the idea of reverse sex change button. I can't say exactly where I got it from because I've seen a few places over the years. And then finally, if you're wondering why I included the option of hormones and surgery in one case and not the other, it's because otherwise non-binary people would have been like, what the fuck do I pick? But then if I had given the option of going back to your original body and transitioning later through hormones and surgery, trans people are so good at being in denial that they pick that option and convince themselves that they're cis. Rotten Corpse, I think you've summed this up very well. Make asylums a great again. That's what I feel about this article. Anyway, I just thought I'd share with you because I guarantee there will be plenty of people talking about this over the next couple of days. I did link her article about why isn't anyone talking about subconscious sex. Subconscious sex was the missing piece of my own gender puzzle. It might be the missing piece of today's trans discourse. No! Because sex is not a conscious entity. It is a physiological entity. Sex in the animal kingdom is based on how reproduction works. Even if it's not working in the person's body anymore or never did, it's still a physiological classification. It is not a conscious or subconscious classification. Your perception of yourself has zero bearing on your physiological person. Oh, these people are annoying me. But you know what? This is probably going to get a lot of Hercules seal claps all over the internet. And then the rest of us will just be making fun of it. So anyway, there's her other articles linked there if you want to dare go into this. You know what else I found that just kind of gave me the on this? Because this has been evolving over several years, right? And I just happened to find this article from Slate from 5 years ago, September 29th, 2017. Almost full 5 years ago. Slate wrote an article back then, and this is when we were seeing a lot of the intersectional feminists and SJW wars on YouTube and Twitter and shit. And in 2017, Slate wrote this article. Is it time to change the definition of woman? How dictionaries are keeping track of the fraught, fast evolving conversation around the language of gender. This is by someone named Nora Kaplan-Bricker. And let's see, how long is this? It's not that long. Let's go through it because this is funny. This is from 5 years ago. Now, this started really, the Tumblr was in its heyday. You had the bedroom feminists doing little sit-down videos about feminism and all that shit. So here it is, from 2017. And let's see if this person who wrote this article about subconscious sex, your subconscious sex, which is, that's anti-definitional, okay? Sex is not a conscious or subconscious thing. It's a physical thing. It's your physiology. But anyway, Slate. The Collin English Dictionary defines the word woman as an adult female human being. But this past August, a tempest began on Twitter when a user posted 2 responses written to people who had contacted the dictionary, one to advocate that the entry should be changed and the other to argue that it should stay the same. The first letter writer, identified in a Twitter post as a man, received a long response that said Collins is currently reviewing all gender-related vocabulary to make sure that we accurately reflect the evolution in vocabulary of gender and sexuality. The other letter writer, a woman, received a polite but curt response informing her any changes we make to our definitions are the result of a detailed review process and evidence-based linguistic research. Oh, interesting. The ensuing thread, in which one incensed respondent called for a boycott of HarperCollins products, the second letter writer piped up to say that she, in fact, a transgender woman and feminist of various stripes, debated miscellaneous accusations of dictionary sexism is less interesting than the question that inspired both commenters in the first place. Is it time for dictionaries to make room for in their definitions for transgender and intersex women? 0.018% of the population, or even less, who may not fit under the umbrella of adult female human being, especially given that Collins' primary definition of female in its American dictionary is of the sex that produces ova and bears offspring. In other words, exactly how well are dictionaries keeping up with the evolving contemporary conversation around the language of gender and sexuality? Well, they're not giving circular definitions yet. I think I see the last time I looked, it still said adult, human, female. But hey, the dictionaries are very highly influenced by the wokest of the woke. To decide when to update their definitions, lexicographers at Collins and elsewhere will rely on data drawn from books and periodicals that show how language is used in the world. Lay people tend to see dictionaries as prescriptive arbiters of words, true meanings. Lexicographers, on the other hand, say their function is descriptive. They seek only to reflect the language that we, the people, have made. This means, on one hand, the definition would never be jettisoned simply because readers find it offensive. As Oxford linguist Deborah Cameron wrote a few days after the melee on Twitter, Collins' entry for woman includes some secondary senses of woman, e.g. domestic servant, wife, mistress, or girlfriend. Does it? Don't know about that. And some idioms containing the word little woman, woman of the streets, which feminists might find objectionable, but their inclusion is not a mark of the lexicographers' sexism. It's a reflection of the sexism of the community whose usage they're describing. Collins' own lexicographers declined to be interviewed. I don't blame them. Likewise, no lexicographer would be swayed by the argument that A new usage or word, once an active part of the lexicon, should be barred from the dictionary because it undercuts some other meaning that is deemed more authoritative or real. Like physiological versus subconscious. From this perspective, people seeking to reroute a politically charged use should worry about how a word is transmitted in writing and taught in homes and schools, not about how it appears in the dictionary. As Cameron argues, it's not good petitioning the king. The struggle for meaning is a grassroots campaign. And they're on the campaign right now. Oh my God, I swear to God, if that subconscious bullshit shows up in a dictionary somewhere, I'm going to scream like a girl. Or a woman or something. I don't know. Was that sexist? I don't know. Anyway, it is impossible to keep politics out of the dictionary. Last year, Merriam-Webster provoked a jubilation in some quarters and fury in others when it added a list of words that included transphobia, non-binary, cisgender, and genderqueer, as well as the non-binary horrific mix. Which is just blooming in popularity around the world. Years before that, when lexicographers began expanding their definitions of marriage to include same-sex unions, conservatives accused them of joining the culture wars, while liberals argued that they were continuing to discriminate by defining same-sex marriage as separate, secondary sense of the word. I'm not going into it. These arguments aren't empty bluster. According to linguist and Wall Street Journal columnist Ben Zimmer, as shared records of language, dictionaries do have legitimate social power, and it's not like Scrabble players are the only ones who turn to them for help. Judges have been known to consult them as well. In a 2007 opinion, the Rhode Island Supreme Court, for example, quoted from a dictionary that defined marriage as the union of one man and one woman. The definitions of male and female have already influenced legal precedent. In 2002, the Kansas Supreme Court voided the marriage of a transgender woman and her late husband, arguing the words sex, male, and female in everyday and understanding do not encompass transsexuals. Therefore, the court classified the bereaved wife as a man who had married her husband in defiance of Kansas law, which prohibited same-sex marriage at the time. The court barred the widow from inheriting her husband's estate. The following year, the court in Ohio cited this case when denying a marriage application on the basis that the man and the couple was trans. Now, that's interesting. I don't care. You know what? Now, let's just go. This is an aside. When it comes to inheritance laws, that's just stupid. If you should be able to inherit whatever your partner was called, there certainly should be some kind of legal precedent that you can inherit your partner's stuff, whether you're married or not. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Now, same-sex marriage is legal, and some dictionaries have revised their definitions of marriage yet again, making the primary sense gender neutral, and as in Merriam-Webster's first entry, the state of being united as spouse in a consensual and contractual relationship recognized by law, which acknowledges the continuing controversy in the usage. How romantic. What a romantic definition. Did you hear that? The state of being united as spouses in a consensual and contractual relationship recognized by law. Oh, so sexy. Anyway. But the entries on man, woman, male, female haven't budged. Lexicography has a history of small c conservatism where gender and sexuality are concerned. In one egregious example, the word lesbian didn't make it into the Oxford English Dictionary for over a century after it entered common usage. The more reasonable lag time, however, can be a boon. Our goal is to catalog the language when it becomes kind of stable. To define things when the dust is settled, says Merriam-Webster's lexicographer Emily Brewster. Anyway, there's not much left. Let's read the rest. I think that the best thing the dictionary can do, otherwise it's subject to too much information that really can't be helpful. Brewster reviewed all of Webster's sex and gender definitions when she was working on the additions of cisgender and genderqueer and other related terms. For the time being, one of the dictionary science editors decided to let man and woman stand. Webster's primary definition for a man reads, an individual human, especially an adult male human, while male is defined as an individual of the sex that is typically capable of producing small, usually mobile gametes such as sperm and spermatozoa, which fertilizes eggs of a female. In Brewster's view, that word typically creates a broadness that allows for differently abled bodies to be male. Oh, good God. Yeah, is when you're shooting blanks. But look, that does not make you not a male. It just, there's other characteristics scientifically and physiologically that would make you a male. Anyway, but she expects to revisit the question soon. Oh, yeah, it may become clear that we need to have an additional census to address uses of words that are not quite covered. She said we wouldn't be lexicographers if we didn't leave that door open. Well, okay, then they have the correction. Anyway, so look for a dictionary near you to include the new non-circular trans definition of a woman, which is, what the hell was that again? Woman is an adult human whose subconscious sex is female. Oh, good God. Anyway. All right. Enough of that. Let's get through the rest of this and call it a day, even though I don't have a time crunch today because I am not doing my noon gig. Here we go. This is, I didn't watch this video, but I was very interested because not every cop is a good cop, and we know that. And apparently this one is a bad one. Let's see what this cop says that has one of my friends in an ire.
PSA to everyone out there. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm probably speaking for a large majority of other officers out there. If we're driving on the freeway in our police car, get the out of the way. Get the out of the way. If you merge and we follow behind you and we merge too, you're probably in trouble. Best way to find that out is get the out of the way. I can go 90 miles an hour. You can't. You can't do that. So get the out of the way. If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over. So you might as well get the out of the way. Super simple. That's all. You're welcome.
Well, I have 2 words for her. Just 2. 2 words. Kiss my ass. If I'm in a slow lane, go around me, bitch. I don't give a fuck if you're an officer. And if you pull me over, you better have a damn good reason. That was more than 2 words, wasn't it? Okay, not every officer is a good officer. She is not. Okay, next. Let's see. Oh, another video. Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin did a funny. Happy birthday to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. A man I once said gay to. I never saw this clip, but this is here we go. Here's Dave Rubin. Gay. Oh, shoot. Oh, I ruined it. Damn it. Hang on. This is Dave Rubin, who was talking to the Florida governor.
All right, so first off, we have to start with the obvious one. Gay. He didn't even flinch. Nothing.
Okay, so I guess you can say gay to Governor Ron DeSantis. That was cute. Next. Next. What is this? Oh, so Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project, who a organization that covers for pedophiles, said something. You don't say. I'm shocked. I can't imagine why. Florida sees a sharp rise in white power anti-Semitic incidents. Report finds. Now there's a report by the ADL out. And let's see, it's shared in the Miami Herald. What happened to the Miami Herald one? Oh, I thought I had it here. Is this it? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So there's a report in the Miami Herald talking about an ADL study that says there's a sharp rise in anti-Semitic incidents in Florida. And so Rick Wilson here is like, I'm shocked. I can't imagine why. It's because they're trying to say, Ron DeSantis, right? Except the problem is the and who knows what the anti-Semitic events are? It's in the article, but there was a higher rise in New York and California, because there's So why is he specifically looking at Florida? Well, because the Miami Herald is a complete and utter left-wing lunatic newspaper, and so they're trying to tie the rise of the anti-Semitic events to Ron DeSantis, right? So they put out this article in the Miami Herald. Oh, breathtaking. Florida sees sharp rise in white power and anti-Semitic incidents, report finds. Florida saw, this is how they start this. Florida saw a sharp increase in the anti-Semitic incidents last year, according to a new report from the Anti-Defamation League, the New York-based organization that tracks anti-Semitic incidents and other extremist activities across the country. Now, so the ADL, they say the state saw a 50% increase in anti-Semitic incidents. Now, first I want to know, anti-Semitic incidents. What exactly? I want to know exactly what does that cover. I'd like to see a list of the actual incidents, because, for example, when they had in what is it? Somebody was campaigning down in Florida, and they had the guys come up there, and they stood off the side and had they were carrying a Nazi flag and this and that, and then you found out that these were Democratic operatives. Oh no, that was in Virginia, right? But they were officially sent there by. Oh no, they were sent by the Lincoln Project. That's what makes it ironic that this jackhole Rick Wilson wrote this Florida sees sharp uprising in white power anti-Semitic incidents because they paid some assholes to go do one of these incidents in Florida, or not, excuse me, Virginia. And in fact, I think someone down here might have shown in the comments to Rick Wilson, because he's a jackhole. I think they might even have referenced one of the incidents that the Lincoln Project put together. Did I click the wrong? I must have clicked the wrong button there. I'm having trouble with my computer. Let's see. That was not it. Oh, here we go. This is what I was trying to do. They may have even showed you one of these stupid incidents that the Lincoln Project paid people to do. And that would be recorded as an anti-Semitic incident, even if it wasn't them, right? Oh, my son just wishes Nazis in Orlando. He said there were dozens hanging on the corner. A guy getting assaulted got out of his car and pushed one of them. I don't know. Anyway, but what's funny about this article is look at who they put in the picture. You recognize that guy? That is Enrique Tarrio, the Afro-Cuban former leader of the Proud Boys. They're trying to tie Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers to these incidents, right? As if either of those organizations have anything to do with religion or even race, even though they're trying to paint them as white supremacist militia type people, which they're not. But anyway, because I've researched these organizations, I know all about these organizations, even though I'd never be part of either of them. But I understand what the organizations are. I've seen the Proud Boys since their inception, and I began reading on the Oath Keepers. I didn't know what they were, so I looked them up and started to figure out what they were. Anyway, Florida saw a sharp increase in anti-Semitic incidents last year, according to a news report from the Anti-Defamation League and the New York-based organization tracks blah 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 blah. The state saw a 50% increase in anti-Semitic incidents in 2021 compared to the year before. Wait a minute. In 2021, isn't that when Joe Biden became president? Now, Florida had the third most anti-Semitic incidents of any state in the country, behind only New York and California. Whoa. Those are states run by Democrats, highly entrenched Democrats. but we're looking at Florida because it's the Miami Herald, right? Nationally, 2021 saw a 34% increase in anti-Semitic incidents across the country. The ADL found that Florida is home to an overlapping network of white supremacists and anti-Semitic groups responsible for organizing numerous rallies and distributing hateful propaganda. All told, the ADL Center for Extremism found that more than 400 instances of white supremacist propaganda being distributed between January 2020 and August 2022. Now, notice what they did there. So up here they said there was a 50% increase in 2021. But you have 400 instances. Now this is just the propaganda, but whatever. From January 2020 and August 2022. So over 2020, 2021, August 2022, over almost 3 years. So you divide that 400 instances by, let's say, 2.5. Okay? Just do the math. The report also notes that Florida is home to the most people charged in connection with the January 6th insurrection. What does that have to do with anti-Semitic incidents? Zero. But you see what they're doing here? This is a propaganda piece, the Miami Herald, which is not unusual. Including members of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. See what they did there? This has nothing to do with the title of the article, right? Florida sees a sharp increase in white power and anti-Semitic incidents, but somehow they found a way to work in January 6th, the Proud Boys, and the Oath Keepers. Completely irrelevant to the article. The report fills the gap by Florida's notable undercounting of hate crimes. Notable? According to experts. According to experts. Last year, for example, then Miami Police Chief Art Acevedo, or whatever, told the Miami Herald he was ordering a review of why the department had mistakenly reported no hate crimes as part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's annual collection of crime data. Well, wait a minute. Miami? The most liberal city in Florida isn't reporting hate crimes? Why might that be? Florida has been undercounting hate crimes for some time, said Brian Levin, a criminal justice professor at California State University of San Bernardino. How do you know? And director of the University Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism. Wow, there's a study for hate and extremism. There's a center at the University of San Bernardino. Anyway, there's no state in the country that has this poor of response from its largest cities. Who runs the largest cities in America? Just saying. It's not Ron DeSantis, I'll tell you that. Levin said that the center's analysis of crime stats in 2022 and 2021 has also shown a sharp increases in anti-Semitic hate crimes. So the uptick. So in 2017, 198. 2018, 76, 2019, 91, 2020, 127, 2021, 190. Sharp uptick. But 100 incidents in a state of what? Is there 20-some million, 22 million people in Florida? So I don't know what the number is. The ADL. So when they start up here with a 50% increase, oh my God, a 50% increase. Well, if you have 10 incidents, a 50% increase would be 15 of whatever it is. So saying a 50% increase doesn't tell you a whole lot, does it? But it sounds terrible. And it is terrible. I mean, anti-Semitic incidents are fucked up, but that's not my point. This is an article using statistics for dummies, but the dummies don't understand them. The ADL report highlights national anti-Semitic groups such as Goyim Defense League, which has a Florida presence, and organized events in Florida, as well as groups such as National Socialist Movement, an openly pro-Hitler group that is led by a Florida man, Brian Colucci of Kissimmee. The groups organized numerous rallies throughout the year, including demonstrations outside the conservative group Turning Point USA's Student Action Summit in Tampa in July 2022, May 20. Okay, wait a minute. Now, remember that? The TPUSA people were telling them to get the fuck out of there. What had nothing to do with it. And in fact, several papers had to pull retractions on what they said about it. But notice what the Miami Herald did here. They are associating it with Turning Point USA on purpose. And I'm not a fan of Turning Point USA. I call them Talking Point USA, but they're not terrible people. Their overall ideas, I tend to agree with them most of the time. Their style and whatever leaves something to be desired, but they're reaching younger people, so I guess it's okay. But isn't that funny? The group organized numerous rallies throughout the year, including demonstrations outside the conservative group Turning Point. Were they protesting or were they agreeing with Turning Point USA? No, but you're associating them with that by putting this in the article. A May protest outside Walt Disney World and a February demonstration outside the Daytona 400. The groups displayed signs with anti-Semitic slogans and Nazi imagery such as swastika, along with anti-LGBTQ and racist messages. Were they LARPers or were they real? That's my question. At a January 2022 rally in Orlando near the University of Central Florida campus, 3 demonstrators, including Colucci, were charged with assault after allegedly attacking a Jewish student and stealing the phone he was using to record them. The 3 men are scheduled to go to trial at the end of October. Good. Throw them in jail. I don't give a shit. Fuck these guys. The Goyim Defense League, meanwhile, led a 15-day anti-Semitic tour in Central and South Florida in May 2021, in which the group demonstrated outside Jewish institutions and drove around in a van covered in anti-Semitic slurs. Dominic Giorgio, a Port St. Lucie member of the group who helped to establish its online presence, drove 5 other Floridian members on a similar tour of southeastern Texas last year, during which DiGiorgio was arrested and charged with using a device that allowed him to flip between 2 different license plates on his van. Good. Go to jail. Fuck that guy. Nobody wants this guy in there anywhere near people. But here they go again. Now look what they do next, though. They're doing it again. By the way, good morning to the science. Welcome, the Dr. Fauci. Welcome, Dr. Fauci. I see you. Now listen to this. They're going to continue, though. The report notes that 11 Florida members of the Proud Boys were among those arrested in connection with the storming of the Capitol, though the group's then leader, Enrique Tarrio of Miami, didn't participate because he had been arrested 2 days earlier in connection. What does this have to do with anti-Semitic events in Florida? Why did they add this to the article? You see what they're doing here. This is some propagandist shit. I can't believe it. Because he had been arrested 2 days earlier in connection with the burning of a Black Lives Matter banner stolen from a church in Washington. Tarrio nevertheless faces charges of seditious conspiracy for his alleged role in planning the assault at the Capitol. What does that have to do with the article? Florida sees sharp rise in white power anti-Semitic events. Are the Proud Boys do they have anything to do with white power? I guess you'll have to look that up if you don't know the answer. Tarrio, who's repeatedly been who has reportedly been a government informant in the past, indicated earlier this year to the Miami New Times that he was stepping down from leadership of the group and would start a new organization. Several members of the Proud Boys hold seats on the Miami-Dade Republican Executive Committee. See what they did? Oh my God. And then at least 7 members of the Oath Keepers arrested in connection with the January 6th attack are Florida residents. Leak of data from the group show thousands of Florida residents had signed up for the organization, which specifically targets current and former military or members of the military and law enforcement for membership, though it isn't clear how many of those people are active members and still live in Florida. What does that have to do with the title of the article? Are you accusing them of causing anti-Semitic and white supremacist shit? I doubt if Enrique Tarrio is a white supremacist. I'm just spitballing here. Anyway, that's the way they do it in the Miami Herald. It's such a terrible, it's just a terrible fucking place. Jim Acosta wrote a book titled A Dangerous Time to Tell the Truth in America, referencing having his press pass taken away. Never once mentioned the cold-blooded murder of a local journalist by a politician for telling the truth. Yeah, remember? So that Democratic politician in Nevada who killed a journalist? Apparently, a Nexus search of CNN transcripts confirms this. This man, Jim Acosta, the man who repeatedly said Trump endangered the lives of reporters, said zip, zilch, nada about a Democrat politician stabbing a reporter to death in Las Vegas. On the hours that he was anchoring over the weekend. Jim Acosta has not mentioned a politician murdering a journalist, even though Jim Acosta himself was completely oppressed. Speaking of journalists, Taylor Lorenz has had it again. Note the looseness with which I use that term. Taylor Lorenz is now publicly targeting the female journalist who conducted the interview in which she cried about mean tweets. You know that meme? This meme right here. This is here. Here's Taylor. Here's Taylor Lorenz. Oh, hang on. The hell happened there? That's not what I was trying to do. Oh, goodness. Harvard working on a grant to fund her tenure track journalism fellowship. Hang on. What the hell what's going on here? Oh, here we go. I'll just play it from here. Here's Taylor Lorenz.
Social tie. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying. I've had to
Okay, so they left out the crying clip. What the hell happened here? Okay, F11, where's that? Let's try that. No, that's mute. Hang on. That ain't it. What the hell's going on here? Oh, that's a full screen. I got you. Okay, there we go. All right. So this reporter on MSNBC, right? Black woman, journalist. Well, Taylor Lorenz is mad at her now. Taylor Lorenz harasses. Now they left out a word. This is Andy Knows Post Millennial. Libby Emmons is writing this. She forgot to say black female journalist. Taylor Lorenz harasses black female journalists online after being memed for crying in an interview about mean tweets. So Taylor Lorenz cannot take a joke, especially when that joke is at her expense. Ever since Lorenz went on TV and cried about being on the receiving end of mean tweets, claiming online harassment has given her PTSD, she and her crying face have been the subject of endless memes and jokes. The Washington Post reporter who covers technology and online culture. She's just a mean girl on there. Can dish it out, but she can't take it. After the interview aired on MSNBC's Meet the Press Daily with Morgan Radford, Lorenz has gone to great lengths to get the internet to stop laughing at her for crying over mean tweets. On Twitter, she wrote, quote, "No bigger regret in my career than making the mistake of thinking Morgan Radford knew how to accurately report on abuse and harassment. Her complete mishandling of the story has led to immense fallout and months of abuse. I cannot warn women loudly enough to stay away from her and MSNBC." Oh, are you criticizing a black woman, Taylor Lorenz? Look out. Here comes Black Twitter. Now, she went on the show and made this big scene of crying, right? And she's blaming the interviewer. And she goes, Women journalists constantly ask me how to get their stories out. Do they, Taylor? Do women journalists come to you for advice? I highly doubt that. She went on, or whether they should do interviews. All I can say is do not trust anyone in the media to tell your story or report on harassment accurately, especially TV news people. They do not care about you or getting it right. I'm so grateful that the organizations I've been able to work with to educate people on issues of online harassment and abuse. We need to change how the media tells these stories and force newsrooms to take this stuff seriously. Nobody takes you seriously, Taylor. You're the worst person in the freaking world. Anyway, she blamed. And look, after they aired that, right? So MSNBC removed their video interview with Taylor Lorenz from YouTube. Is this on here? I think I might have this here. Did I open that? Yeah, here it is. Jay Lorenz went on that interview to throw a pity party for adoring media of her own free will. Now that has backfired, she wants to blame it for her problems. Maybe don't be a terrible human being. Spot on, whoever you are, Jacob Airy. Jeez. And okay. All right. Anyway, last couple things, and then I'm out of here. In the I think it's New Hampshire primary. So this is David Axelrod. David Axelrod was a advisor to Barack Obama, and he's a Democratic bigwig. Well, he wrote this tweet this day that says, another far-right election denier wins, this time in New Hampshire. Feels like the Republicans are doing everything possible to frustrate their chances of regaining control of the Senate, right? Because David Wasserman says, I've seen enough. Pro-MAGA Don Bolduc wins the New Jersey Senate primary and will face Senator Maggie Hassan in the fall. Okay, this is so Axelrod's decrying this. There's a small problem. There's a small problem here. David Axelrod, who is one of the biggest DNC strategists around, right? Maggie Hassan aligns to the Senate Majority PAC, which is aligned with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, forked out $3.2 million on ads endorsing who? Army Brigadier General Don Bolduc. Remember how they all wanted Donald Trump to be the nominee in 2016. Do y'all remember that? How the Democrats they're like, oh, we hope it's Donald Trump. We don't think you should vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump. And then it came back to bite them in the ass. By the way, that's the New York Post story. The final two races targeted by Democrats will be decided Tuesday in New Hampshire in the Republican primary for the right to take on incumbent Senator Maggie Hassan. The Senate Majority PAC, which is aligned with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, $3.2 million on Bolduc, the Republican primary nominee. And then he won it. And now this jackhole, another far-right election denier, wins. Well, you guys orchestrated that. Now here's what, oh my God, they boosted a candidate that has no chance at winning, therefore increases the chances Democrat keep it close and prevent things like abortion rights being stripped. Oh, do you remember the Democrats boosting a certain candidate in 2016? His name, Donald Trump. How'd that work for you? Anyway, that's hilarious. If you want to read, and then the final two things. Woke Department of Defense Equity Chief Kalisa Wing has a history of anti-white Twitter posts. Oh, you don't say. The self-described woke chief diversity, equity, and inclusion officer in the Department of Defense. Why the fuck does the Department of Defense have a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer? The military already is far more diverse than the general population. Why do you need a diversity, equity, inclusion? It's one of the most egalitarian places as far as workplaces in the country, too, right? Officers and whatever, the promotion schedules and things in the military are very, very, very fair to all races. It's kind of wild. Anyway, so this Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer of the Department of Defense Education Branch has a history of calling out white people on social media, according to a report. The tweets by Kelisa Wing, an Army veteran and current DEI chief at the Department of Defense Education Activity, were first reported by Fox News when the outlet contacted her for comment. Her Twitter account was made private, and she declined to respond. There, let's see if they got some copies of the tweets. I want to see the tweets themselves, not what they said. Well, they don't have the actual tweets, but here's what some of them said. One of them, I'm exhausted with these white folks in these professional development sessions. Wing, who oversees the curriculum at DODEA, tweeted in June 2020, according to Fox. Another one, this lady actually had the caucasity to say that black people can be racist too. I had to stop the sessions and give Karen the business. We are not the majority. We don't have power, the diversity chief wrote. Being anti-racist means being active against racism. You will never arrive. Stop centering on this on whiteness. In another post, Wing responded to another user who criticized an article she had written that claimed racism is ingrained in the very fabric of our country and called on teachers to dismantle racial oppression. By Karen, Wing wrote dismissively. Anyway, who knows? Is anyone surprised by this? I don't care. I don't care what her tweets were, but maybe the Department of Defense should look into that. And let's see, moving on. Oh, and racism. Oh, they're complaining because some British mourners give Meghan the cold shoulder in a viral video. And so Yahoo had to write this. Prince Harry mourns the death of his grandmother in the UK. His wife, Meghan Markle, right by his side. She joins him outside Windsor Castle this past weekend to greet members of the public, paying tribute to the late Queen. While most were happy to see the Duchess of Sussex, if you said that wrong, you could get in a lot of trouble. Not everyone is pleased with her presence back across the pond. In a video that has since gone viral, a few mourners were seen giving Markle the cold shoulder as she graciously approached to shake their hands. The video shows Markle briefly leaving her husband's side to greet mourners. As she makes her way down the line of people, she comes to one woman who is shown dropping her head, deliberately ignoring Markle. The woman who ignored Markle and one of her friends can be seen on camera giggling after snubbing the Duchess. Always an example of poise, Markle appeared to shrug and laugh off the incident, swiftly moving on to meet more mourners. Now, they're trying to make it a racial incident, which, maybe, but here's a couple things here. And I'm just going to read you some tweets that kind of could be possibilities. I don't know how Meghan Markle has the brass neck to walk about in London shaking hands of British people. After the mud she has thrown at the royal family, I would not have shaken her hand. Some people are very particular about the royal family. They love the royal family. Not everybody loves the royal family, but some people do. And they might be a little upset with the words that came out of Meghan Markle's mouth regarding the royal family, and seeing it as disloyal, would not want to shake her hands. And someone else says, you can go on Oprah, you can write a book, you can do a podcast. And it was all blown away by the lady in blue, because they were saying, so some people are celebrating. Anyway, there are a lot of people bitching about it. I say, let Londoners be Londoners. Let Brits be Brits. And we can stay the fuck out of it. All right. That is all I'm going to do today, because I'm kind of out of time. I got shit to do. I got to pack. I got to start packing for our trip. How do you pack for 10 days? You take 10 days of clean underwear and socks, but everything else you can wear more than once, can't you? I mean, no one knows what you're going to wear. If you're in, if I'm in Budapest, and 4 days later I'm in Vienna, do they care if I wore the same thing in Budapest as I did in Vienna? I suppose in pictures it would look weird, but I don't care. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live, where we talk about things that are happening. I guarantee you we're going to hear a lot more about that new definition of woman over the next couple of days. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people talking about it. And, Biden celebrating the Inflation Reduction Act. That was the most cringe shit I'd ever seen. I am going to do a short one this afternoon. I'll find a video or something. Or if anybody wants to send me a video, I'll pick one and we'll go over a video that I haven't seen. Right now, though, here's what I want you to think about. And it's very important that you think about this right now before I sign off. So perk up. Hit the like button, share the stream before, during, and after the show, put a comment in the comment section. And if you want to sponsor the show like Maddie has done today, and Maddie, you are the superstar sponsor of the day, you can go to pdognight.live during the show, before the show, after the show, 24 hours a day. That link is there where you can drop a couple bucks in the tip jar or help sponsor the show or write a witty thing, whatever you write, if it's during the show or not during the show, I will read it at my first opportunity. And you can also sponsor the show with super chats if you don't mind giving Susan 30%. There's also Venmo, Cash App in the description down below. Thanks to who able to do it. But let me just say something. I appreciate the super chats, the prioritized chats, the Streamlabs and all that. I really do. But still, the best thing you can do with any of my videos, any of my streams, anything that we do on the P-Dog Night channel is to share and invite people to come join us. The more the merrier. The channel's been growing. You guys have been very good with that, and I appreciate it. In 2 weeks, I'm going to have a guest, Jen Thompson or Thomas? I'll make some announcements, but she is one of the people who is being an actual activist, someone who is going out and organizing what are called speakers corners, where they go to different cities and talk about the gender nonsense that's going on right now, the trans rights activists. And these are some gender critical, some are feminists, some are they're all types of people. They're not just feminists doing this. There are women who are going out and speaking out against the nonsense, especially this nonsense that's going with children. And I'm excited to have her on my show in a couple weeks. I've met her in some of these Twitter spaces, and she's very dynamic and very opinionated, and we don't agree on everything. So that'll be fun too, because we're going to have some interesting discussions, I hope, but she's an awesome person and I look forward to it. If you liked it when Gabs was here, you're also going to like Jen. So that's Friday the 30th, and other guests coming up, Rakita Law, Billboard Chris. I've been trying to get him on here, and there's others. There's plenty others. So anyway, look forward to that. Thanks, everybody. Time for me to go. My name is P Dog Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Night, and I'm out of here.